Hey everyone, I'm Nito King, and today on Folklore, it's the penultimate quest video. We're only gonna have one left after this, but for now, it's time for the end of an era. Or at least a story arc. Don't worry, I'm sure we've fought through worse. Like in Fairy Photo Part 1. Yep, skeletons and minions. We're familiar with that. So, it's pretty similar to the first part of Fairy Photo. We've got to take out the skeletons while they've got minions around. The difference is, this time, the skeleton folks won't recover. So even if I kill them rather than absorbing them, they're still just as dead. And that makes all the difference. Granted, there's nothing really new about the fighting itself, aside from I'm trying to capture as many ids as possible at once while the skeletons are still active. So I'm speeding up pretty much the entire video because this is a very, very long quest. Mostly because of the story. But as you notice, every time I capture one of these folks, it takes a little bit longer for the next one to revive. I don't think they ever actually run out completely, but after a while, the room is depopulated enough that I can just go straight after the skeleton folk. And attacking it does actually hurt it. It's just that, kind of like Moralta Begalta in the previous fight, it makes a lot more sense to capture the minions than it does to just attack the skeletons directly. At least that's what I assume. There's no HP meter or anything like that for me to see what damage I'm doing here. And Langalan remains pretty much the standard for dealing lots of damage to lots of folks at once. But I'm using folks of various elements that cover a lot of ground. The important thing being to hit as many folks as possible with each attack, not necessarily to do more damage than anything else. I mean, most of these folks don't hold up to more than one attack from any of the folks that I'm using right now. And I still can't manage to aim Durandal properly. It's just Durandal, and I don't know why. But we're making good time, I think. And there's not even a skeleton in this room. There are only 3 different types and 4 rooms along the way to the mini-boss room. This room, I think, is just getting us used to the idea of having Ulgik and I guess those were Anwin as the minions that we're going to be fighting. And here are Padfoots. Always love the Padfoots. And here's the Barely Dead. There's 2 of them this time, but the basic idea hasn't changed. You can capture the Padfoots to weaken them, and it's just that now I have to kill 2 of them. Really not liking the way Durandal is just randomly firing anywhere, so I got a way to make nice tall pillars of fire under any target and get a guaranteed hit. So I'm going to use Agapanthus a bit longer. And eventually I clear out enough of the folks that... oops. I didn't want to try to capture the Barely Dead, I was going for the Padfoot. But if it is almost dead, I'll just go ahead and finish the job. And with only 1 left, it's not going to last very long. Managed to hit it as it was flying by. And that should be that much done. But of course, we're only halfway. So yes, for the second and final time, we get to use both characters in the same quest. Although this time we're not switching freely between them, it's just Keats for the first half and Ellen for the second. I mean, it kind of makes sense. The entire storyline up to this point has been all Ellen's work. Okay, yeah, this is the tutorial guy. We already know all about this from fighting through as Keats. Nothing changes for Ellen except the elements of the skeleton folks we're going to be fighting. And of course, since we're now Ellen instead of Keats, we'll have different collections of minions as well. So now we've got Kushi, we've got Humpty. And I don't know whether we actually have to fight all these guys, but I might as well. And we do have to fight the Humpty that's guarding the bridge. But again, I think this is just to make sure that I remember what each of these folks does, what they're vulnerable to, how to fight them. Because these are the ones that'll be acting as the minions further on. So naturally we go to the dead end first. And this is where we're going to fight Balewind. And it's surrounded by Kushi and Mabinogion. These are all area attacks, unfortunately. And I want to be careful not to accidentally leave the room, but getting trapped in the dead end probably isn't a good idea either. And I think it just revived all the folks at once. That's annoying and kind of unfair. But again, attacking the skeleton itself, not really wasted effort. And any attacks that hit the other folks are basically furthering our entire goal here. I don't know if Balewind is particularly weak to water, but I can certainly hurt it with Peg Powder. And that's half of Ellen's mission done. We only have to go into a couple of the rooms in the second half. And this one is where we'll find the Balgbulk, and again, there are two of them. But now they're surrounded by Skriker and Humpty. And the fun thing is, Skriker's not particularly weak to thunder, and Balgbulk, of course, is immune to it. So if I don't use any thunder attacks, none of the Humpties are going to wake up. So I don't have to worry about them. I certainly can't capture them this way, but they're annoying to capture as it is. Whereas just dealing with the Skriker and the Balgbulk, not too tough. They're all pretty weak to water. And wind is very effective as well. I think this room is really just kind of a way to wind down after all the previous rooms. Get you to cool off a bit before the final encounter with Amaryllis. Yep, you read that right. Gargantua is one of the respawning minions in this next room. Now, I'd say it would be pretty helpful to have Ellen along, but she wouldn't be very effective against most of these folks because she has no fire element attacks. I suppose she could probably keep Gargantua busy, but in the meantime, we've got Proto and we've got Amaryllis to deal with. And we also have to stay away from Gargantua. So I'm going to equip a couple of destroy elements just in case it gets too close. I can maybe press it back a bit, or if nothing else, damage its legs a little. And I've managed to finally finish building up Durandal along the way. So the rest of this is really just taking down as many Proto as possible, and again, using as wide an area effect as I can so I'm hitting the Amaryllis at the same time. And if I get close enough to Gargantua, I can aim for its legs and at least try to stop its charging attack. But realistically, I'm just barely going to be able to survive as it is. One Amaryllis is almost dead. It recovered a little bit, but I managed to take it down in the end. And now I've just got to take the other one down before they kill me. And that's one set of legs gone, at least. Went for the other and accidentally killed the Amaryllis while I was trying to regain my bearings. So we finally get the full story, although I'm sure you already pieced it together before now. And we get the final unique upgrade item for one of our DLC folks. And we can build up Automata's first karma before we even start using it, really. And next time, it's the final quest. You don't want to miss this one.